Good evening, Nick Inman from VolumeProfileTrader.com on Wednesday, August 15th. Actually, it's early Thursday morning. Just looking at the market, basically, I still believe that we're closer to a top than a bottom. And I'm not talking about a top that, is the top of the market. We are at levels where it was a great time to be a seller. Here we are again, but we're coming from higher levels. So last time we came from, call it 1100 to 1200, up to 1419. This time our lows were around, call it 1275. So 1275 to 1325. That was pretty much our base. That was the best time to be buying, and now you're back up at that level. But it took less buying pressure to get back up to those levels. So this is a sign of strength overall. I think that in general you can look at this, these lows here, and this has been the buy zone. And so if you saw a pullback in the market, that's what you'd want to see. And look where that is at, the point of control for the year. So that would basically be a perfect setup for a breakout to the long side. Another thing to mention is every time price got to this level, was it right to be a buyer or seller in this market? It was right to be a profit taker, and now we've had 5, 6, 7 days, however long it's been, of just a slow trickle up effect. Let me zoom in even more, and you can see, and I draw a line here. Every time price came down to those levels, it was right to be a buyer in this recent range. And that's really been the only good trade intraday, is buying the dip somewhere, near the lows of the day. Basically, probably like the value area low for the prior day, something like that. That's where you have wanted to be a buyer. Sure enough, that happened again today. But anyways, eventually this little channel is going to end, probably to the downside. And that's when you look to pick up, sell the market, but pick it up at cheaper levels to the long side, because as long as this channel holds, there's no reason not to want to be a buyer on weakness. One other thing is, if you get a pullback to this point of control for the year, in my opinion, that's a huge buying opportunity in the market, where you could see the market take another leg, a serious leg higher to say 1450, maybe 1475. You never know, even 1500. So short term, I'm more skeptical that, and I believe that there's a downside, waiting, a pullback waiting for the market. But if it looks anything like this, where the channel uptrending, a potential low to the point of control for the year around 1365, plus or minus 5 there. You look for buyers, and you join them if they are there. Okay, Bristol Myers, this is giving you a bounce. Now in the green on this trade, and it's starting to work out nicely. So all I'm really looking for is a retracement up to about 32.50. That's when I'll take my short puts off, and I'll let the shares ride. And what I'll do is I'll take the profits from the short puts, and count that as a bogey towards my long shares. So just kind of pointing that out there. So the overall trades to stay long, look at these recent lows. That's kind of where you want to keep your risk at. You don't necessarily want to risk more than that. And from where I bought, it's about 1%, so not that big of a deal. Okay, Apple, just watch this for potential weakness, and you kind of go from there. Bring in the hourly chart. Basically, and I have to be honest, I took a bearish position on Apple today, and it wasn't because, it's for some reason, and this is, a problem. I always like to go to Apple for any potential movement in the market, because they have expensive options, and their options basically they're very liquid, and I like that. And I understand I can just buy more of, smaller sized options, but I don't know, something about it. Anyways, 6:30. I actually have a bearish position, looking for Apple to stay below 635. If it opens up strong tomorrow, I'll probably just ditch the position for a small loss. I don't normally, short into strength like this, although I do recall Halliburton basically. Actually, no, we bought that. I don't know which one it was. Whatever. Uh, let's give you an example of a short. How about that? And I'll tell you why I took profits today. So we shorted Freeport on this bar here, about halfway through this bar, if I recall. Maybe a little more. Anyways, we sold. Let me get rid of these lines. Alright, we sold 36, or at least I did, the 36 by 34 put spread expiring in September. So what that essentially does is it gives me a profit window. If Freeport is below 36 by the cost of this spread, which it was 70 cents, I think, 75. So it would have to be below at 36. I'm sorry, 35.25, because 36 minus the cost of the spread. That is your break even. So from 35.25 down to 34, you could potentially almost triple your money by expiration. And sure enough, that trade worked out. Took profits on this bar here. The reason why is because basically we came from the value area high. Where did we test? The value area low. Successfully bounced off this high volume area. It's a bit of support, not huge buying, but guess what? Locked in some pretty good gains, 50% gains, and now you're seeing a little bit of retracement on Freeport. Just to show you, this was about a 50% retracement, so just keep that in mind too. So there was multiple targets here around 34.50. It dipped close to 34, which was my ultimate target, just because that's where the short put was. But it didn't get there, and I wasn't willing to see this come back. I wanted to take profits. We're still in an overall uptrend in the market, so I have to be aware of that. Alright, gold. Alright, this is holding this high volume area here. Be aware of this, because it looks like, it's just brewing. It's waiting. It just looks like it wants to break out. We have resistance here. We have support here, and now we're at value area low for the month. Decent buying volume coming in, not huge, but not bad. This is eventually going to break out. I still think it's to the upside, and I think that this is something you can be a part of. What I'm looking to do is basically take off my hedge eventually if this thing breaks off. But that's one of the last things I'll probably do. What I'll likely do is create some type of spread to the upside, a call spread on GLD, something like that, and try to take advantage of a potential move up to, say, 160 or so on GLD. And so I'd probably do something like buying the 157 calls, selling the 160s against them a couple of months out, maybe 1 month out. But I'm not ready for that commitment yet. But it will probably be one of my first positions in GLD, other than just being long. I'll let you know when that happens. Silver, a little weaker than gold, but holding its point of control, holding last month's profile, so I guess that's good news. It's the least of the favorite out of the two, but that's okay. We'll just keep on going, and no problems. Just to show you, NASDAQ futures, they're the strongest. They're trading 27.45 right now, which is $6 above where it closed. So that's good. Keep an eye on the VIX. 1386. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the low for the VIX. Here we have higher lows here. Just watch this. You'll probably see 16 or so in the next couple of days. That's just kind of how the market goes, up and down, up and down. That's why you can be patient on your entries, and that's what you're doing here. I think you can be long volatility. Buy some SPY puts, or buy some put spreads. Buy the 141, buy 138 or so expiring in September. I'm sure that position will end up working out at some point, and you'd be able to take profits. I'll actually look at something like that tomorrow, so if I do enter it, I'll let you know. So really, I guess I'll look at oil. It's coming to test this point of control here, if it can get there, this high volume area. I also see that this is a gap from way back when, and that's really resistance right now. But if we pop up into that zone, maybe it's an area to sell for a decent pullback. Just kind of pointing that out. I still think the market is potentially more toppy short term. Copper looks like it's rolling over, which would be good for Freeport shorts. So maybe if it reverts back up towards 35, 40, 35, well, yeah, we'll go with 35, 40. Maybe we'll consider reshorting Freeport, probably buying the 35 puts, selling the 34, something like that. So anyways, that's it. One thing that I'm going to start doing is doing a spreadsheet for the trades that we take, so you can see the results from when I enter and exit, and that should help. And we're going to do it on a month-to-month basis. I just finished July and August, well, currently August. We're going to start with July, just because this is when I've really been interacting and posting actively. So we'll see where it goes, but I know you'll like the results. So take care. Have a good night.